Well, this coming Friday sees the start of the 2024 season of the Greenwich and Docklands International Festival, which runs all the way until the 8th of September. It's the 29th annual outdoor festival of free theatre and performing arts, takes over new sites in public spaces in the Royal Borough of Greenwich, Newham and the City of London, with this year's theme, All Change. Well, joining me now to share what we can expect from this year's festival is GDIF's Artistic Director, Bradley Hemmings, MBE. Bradley, thank you so much for joining us this Sunday morning. I'm always fascinated by the Greenwich and Docklands Festival because you never quite know what you're going to do. So I'm looking forward to hearing what kind of plans you have.
Well, we're all about surprise. I love surprises, and I think our audiences over the years have seen a lot. But we've got a wonderful opening on the 23rd of August this year with a French company who are coming with this kind of extraordinary, almost like Olympic opening ceremony style fusion of pyrotechnics and percussion, which is happening in Woolwich, called Silence. So that's going to get us off to a bang.
I mean, and it is fascinating. Last year I did it was Roy Williams. Was it Roy Williams and somebody else where they did this? They wrote a play which you had to sit on a bus and go all around Woolwich.
Yeah. That was so powerful. That was The Architect.
Yes, that's right.
Remembering the 30th anniversary of the murder of Stephen Lawrence.
Yes,
and actually the same director from that production is back with us this year, Matthew Zia, creating a new piece called Bodies of Water. Which is very much about the experience of sanctuary-seeking communities, and that, of course, couldn't be more timely in the times we're living through at the moment.
In fact, I went to see a play that he directed this week, which is on at the Donmar Warehouse, which I saw this week, Skeleton Crew. So it's interesting. I feel like I'm following his work all the way around. One of the things that always strikes me about your festival is that logistically, it must be on such a fine line, because even doing that tour around, not tour, but the event I was talking about last year, I kept thinking, how are they managing logistically to do this? You've got the runners starting one point, you've got this starting. It must be such a feat of organisation.
It's a very difficult thing organising the festival, and also the other thing is it's all for free.
Yeah.
And that free public culture, I think, is something that's really, really important. We should all know that we're entitled to it, and that's what Greenwich and Docklands International Festival is about. But yes, logistics are huge, and we've got a fantastic team who are all there to make sure that everything runs smoothly and that people are safe. We've got one kind of amazing of logistics on the opening weekend at the University of East London in Newham, with a piece called Thor, which is a giant block of ice suspended from a crane over a period of 8 hours, and we have an aerial performer who's performing with that, and it's a piece that's obviously informed by climate change, because over the course of that 8 hours that 2.5 ton of block of ice is going to be melting, but that's on the 24th and 25th of August next weekend.
That's extraordinary. And I mentioned that the title or the theme this year is All Change. Tell us why.
Well, I think it's a way of reflecting on positive change. In the words of Gandhi, be the change you want to be. And we are really focusing on change. Obviously climate change. We're encouraging people to think about positive changes that they can make through that. But it's all over the festival in other work as well. There's a fantastic new production in Thamesmead by Dante or Di called called A Ballad of Thamesmead, which is really about the changes that happen through regeneration, and it happens in Thamesmead Town Centre on the 7th and 8th of September, and it's going to be in a hugely poetic and very beautiful piece. Extraordinary work going on to make that happen. And then at a smaller scale, World Kiosk over at Green Street Market, My Variable Matter, will sit over 4 days with a pop-up kiosk, which brings, the festival down to a very kind of local level, which we're always very much about as well, and brings stories of people's experiences from all over the country and the world. You sip a cup of tea and wear headphones, and you're transported to different places. So yes, we're thinking about positive change this year.
How do you know what kind of attendance you get to the overall festival?
Well, it's rising every year. It hovers around 80,000 at the moment, but
Wow.
we're, with large scale events and a real appetite for those events. I think, it seems to get bigger every year.
And dance, of course, being a really important component. We are going to be speaking in a few minutes to Jennifer Jean Charles, MBE, about Patois, which is what they have choreographed. But that is a theme that runs through, and almost uniquely a festival here in London.
Dance is really lettering on the rock for us. We set up an event over 20 years ago called Dancing City, and this year it's moving to the Olympic Park and Stratford Town Centre. There'll be a huge number of dance companies, UK and international, popping up all over that site. It happens on the 7th of September. There are 2 preview performances at Stratford Cross on the 5th and 6th of August from an extraordinary Canadian company called Le Patin Libre, who specialise in skating. That piece is kind of really wonderful, very exuberant piece that happens at Stratford Cross on the 5th and 6th of September.
Well, Bradley, thank you so much for joining us. Let me give people details so they'll know where to go. Bradley Hemmings, MBE, is the Greenwich and Docklands International Festival Artistic Director. It runs from the 23rd through to the 8th of September. So for more information, you can go to thefestival.org/GDIF24. And coming up in just a moment, in fact, I think I can cross to